Welcome, everyone, to Interview with a Trucker. I am Devious Dave Rose, and I'm joined by the one and only J-Man from KC.
What's going on, everybody? Everybody out there having a great time tonight? I know I am.
I certainly am as well, and I've been very much looking forward to this, and I look forward to learning much more about your trade and your craft, which many people don't seem to be fully aware of in this community.
Well, I'm just glad that we were able to get this done sooner rather than continuing and pushing it off. Like sometimes in the community it happens.
Well, we're all very busy in this community, despite what some of the haters would like to think. But the stars aligned, and we were able to accomplish this tonight. In fact, even earlier than was initially anticipated. So, again, I thank J-Man for joining us here tonight and look forward to learning a lot more about what he's doing. So, J-Man, shall we begin?
Absolutely. Let's get this going.
All right. So first and foremost, I'd like to just start off by asking J-Man to just speak a little bit about himself. Just speak about who he is, what he does, and just basically about his interest in trucking.
Wow. Who I am. Now that's a loaded one, I think. I'm obviously a big sports guy. I follow the three of the big ones, hockey, football, and baseball. For those that are interested, I'm a St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan. I am a San Francisco 49ers football fan and a Pittsburgh Penguins hockey fan. Yes, I know that's all across the map, but what can I say? I mean, the only thing I was actually raised to be was the Springfield or the St. Louis Cardinals fan and also the Kansas Jayhawks in college because my mother graduated from KU. Everything else I chose on my own. 49ers I was 8 and the Penguins I was 14. So I mean, I'm just one of those people that you don't just switch teams on a whim either. So I believe that you have one main team and that's it. There's no secondary, and you don't change teams for any damn reason. Um, Love movies. I love music. I actually DJ'd for 15 years as a karaoke host. I did wedding receptions. I did worked in the bars. I did high school dances. I even did a couple Sweet 16s. So, you know, that was fun for a while. I got burnt out on it. Obviously became a truck driver, and been doing that now for shit, almost 13 years. It's been a long time.
Wow,
Fuck.
13 years. Now, you mentioned, actually, I was slightly aware of this, but you mentioned that you were a karaoke host for
Yes,
13 years.
15.
15.
Hmm.
And this must have been back in the day when you needed CDIs and,
Oh, you mean the
disc-based
CDGs?
CDGs, sorry,
Yes.
CDGs. Um, and basically hard format rather than MP3Gs that I used to
Yeah.
use. So
When when I
what?
DJ'd, it was in a what we called a coffin. The entire setup. You had the mixer boards, the
Mhm.
players, the EQ boards, that all that shit, and it was all inside of this. I'm sure you've seen them. Musicians have them. They're like a box, but sides and tops can come off with latches, and so basically you have all the stuff already attached inside, and then you just unlatch and pull off a side, unlatch, pull off the top, and
Yep.
start hooking all the wires in and everything like that. But there were no laptops back when I was doing this shit. Everything was on a disc or
And how
on
many discs that you need to cart into the fucking place just to be able to, and then you have to look through them. You have to, okay, somebody requested the song. Okay, so binder number 27, page number 804. Going, oh, here's the fucking disc.
Yeah, something to that degree. Yes, there wasn't quite as many as that. We probably, because I mean, even the back then, the CDGs would have 15 to 20 songs on them. So you had quite a bit on each CD, and I think we
Well, how
probably
fast were
had.
you to find them when people were?
Well, once you got into the system, you could lay it out where everything was pretty easily managed. It was probably 4 books of CDs and probably 50 pages in a book. So I mean, it was just a matter of, okay, book one, page four, there it is. Put it. So it wasn't all that difficult
Hmm.
to find all the music. And plus once you were doing it long enough, you kind of knew where it was anyway. I always had, and I still actually do have um, those carrying cases that hold like almost 200 CDs
Yep.
because I own like 800 CDs myself that are just music related. So
I
I
don't
had I
own
always
that
had those
many,
with.
but I still keep my CDs around because they're a great format. They could be better, but you know
Well,
what?
they're never going to go bad.
They don't go back. Well, they do eventually sort of fail. The foil and stuff does start to part, but the fact is that if you own a hard copy, you can do whatever it is that you want with it, including create digital copies of it. And
Yep.
if you, I don't know, lose power, you can still listen to music
Well, I mean, obviously in the car too.
in the car too. Exactly. All right, so let's go to the next question. What is it exactly that made you decide to go into trucking?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I actually have wanted to. I had wanted to be a truck driver since the movie Convoy.
We got a great big convoy rocking through the
Uh
night.
huh. Chris
Wow, it
Christopherson,
really had
Alan McGraw.
that influence on you.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the movie. The idea of, driving across the country, meeting people, whatever. It just looked fun to me. I just like that. That's something I always wanted to do. But of course, I was only, I don't know, 5, I think, when that came out. What was that? I was trying to think if it was late 70s or early 80s when that came out. But
Late 70s,
so maybe I saw it later after its first run in
before
the
I was
theater.
born,
But
but
but because I was born in 75, so clearly I would have had to have seen it after, I was younger, but it was long after it'd been out already. But that was when it was, I was probably 7, 8, the first time I remember seeing it and just being
82,
like,
83.
that's what I want to, that's what I want to do. And of course, you don't realize at that young of age what that entails to get to that point. And of course, you get to 16, you get your driver's license, and all you're worried about is just going out, having a blast, and driving as fast as you can, maybe a little recklessly, what have you. So, I piled up quite a few tickets. I had some unpaid tickets where I got my license suspended a few times, even revoked once.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was a detriment to getting to the job that I wanted to get to. Had I known, at that age to be a little more wiser when it comes to driving and all that stuff, I could have gotten into this industry at 21, and fuck, maybe I'd be a millionaire right now because I probably wouldn't have any kids or any of that stuff.
Now, I do have to remind people, or at least admit to people, that I'm just showing a photo of me and J Man. I've never admitted this, but we've met in real life. And you can see me there on the right of the photo, and you see J Man on the left. And yeah, basically, we've run convoys in the past and worked on the trucking industry. But yeah,
Wow, do I look old in that picture? Whew.
and
Of course,
sure do
that's
I look
before I colored
mongoloid.
it. Of course, I've colored my hair since then, but and probably have a little. Well, it's hard to say whether it's a little less in the forehead, but more in the back, or more all the way around as far as length. So,
Actually, I don't even. Maybe I'll hold off on that question. I'm going to hold off on that question because there's a question I'm going to be asking about. Because the whole trope, I don't know if you watch Trailer Park Boys, but Ray, the character on the left there, is Ricky's dad, and he was a trucker. And there's some funny stories that relate to trucking, which again it, co- it creates a mystique, which is why we're here. Okay, I have so many questions about trucking for J Man, and I also see the romanticism that he saw as a young child for trucking. I really would be totally down with the idea of literally just shipping cartage around the country, living on my own, do my own thing, and just being responsible. Like there's an attraction to that, an independence, a feeling of help me out here, J Man, because I see where you're coming from, but I can't verbalize it. But you're living it now, so I know where you're coming from. I just
I mean,
can't.
it's like the freedom of the open road is, one way to describe it. The sceneries, the watercolored painted skies you get to see at different times of the day, the scenery that changes from state to state as far as, whether it's really green and lots of trees here, or whether it's kind of desert like here, or it's really rocky and mountainous here. There's just all the different things and combined to it. And I say freedom of the road, but obviously there are lots of laws and shit we have to follow, but there's still that freedom, as far as you're just on your own, you're doing your thing, you get to see all of that and take it all in. It's almost mesmerizing. It's hard to describe.
Not to sort of bring you down as well as myself, but Casey is starting shit is in the chat, and he asks, "I've got a question for J Man. Is most, and again he still can't speak English proper, but is most driver fat and smell, and truck is covered in trash?" So I'm just repeating exactly what he said. Very
I mean, yeah,
incapable.
I see the question, but it's not.
Not
I
worthy of a
believe it or
response.
it's it's probably 50-50, to be quite honest. I couldn't tell you about the interior of most people's trucks either, because I don't go in and see their trucks. But as far as, the drivers out on the road, it's 50-50.
Well,
I've
well,
seen.
well, Casey would judge you on that one just for the fact that he frequents these truck stops, and he is one of these lot lizards,
Yes,
and
he's the lot lizard.
he dresses in a muumuu and a dress, and he does try to get inside these cabs, and that's the only reason why he's criticized you. He's like, I bet my previous John had a better looking cab than yours.
I don't doubt that.
Well, you got lights in yours?
No, I just keep mine pretty clean. I try to
What's
keep it pretty
what's
immaculate.
clean? That's all relative. Well, clean is
Yeah.
relative. All right, let's move on to the next question. All right, so um, how could you describe your typical day?
Well, let's see. You got to get up, obviously, and get woke up. Sometimes that could take a little while, 30 minutes,
Is it
45
a
minutes, depending
consistent
on.
time?
No.
Does it vary then?
Oh, every day is different. There's,
Well, please explain.
well, okay. The This is why Casey brings up the fat and overweight and all that stuff. This is why a lot of truck drivers are overweight and fat, is because, as anybody knows, to keep yourself in great shape, you must have a consistent diet and a consistent sleep schedule. But that sleep schedule is actually way more important than the consistent diet. There is no consistent sleep schedule in the trucking industry. One night you get 5 hours, one night you get 8 hours, one night you might get seven and a half, nine, one might get three or four, six, and I mean every night's
Now,
different.
I
The
know the
time you got
reason
to.
why. Sorry to interrupt you, but I know the reason why. But why don't you explain to the audience? I don't think they seem to understand loading times, delays in loads, and like explain to everyone who might not understand that it's not in your control about the sleeping hours. You're literally, oh shit, we got 15 trucks to wait for to unload. The company's understaffed. They're taking their time, whatever. Now I gotta fucking park here, sleep, or at least sleep, rest long enough, and then as soon as that radio activates, oh fuck, okay, let's move the truck into position. Let's get them unloaded. So explain to everyone who doesn't know that you're on call. Basically, the reason why you're not getting this sleep is because of the situation that you're dealing with.
Well, first off, we have a logbook, and of course, now they're automated. You're you're set by it. It used to be back in the day, you'd have truck drivers that would have several different paper logbooks, and they would play it how they could to make the day work. And they would be running 15, 16-hour days, driving, where you're really only allowed 11, because they could just change the logbook how they see fit, whatever works. Now being automated logs, when that truck moves, the logbook set is on, and you're on the drive line. When the logbook starts, you have 14-hour clock. That's your day. You're only allowed 11 driving hours in that 14-hour clock. Whenever you are getting loaded or unloaded, you must show 30 minutes on duty. That counts towards your log. Now, after 30 minutes, you can actually go back up on this off-duty line, which would be the sleeper berth. So that way you're not completely using up your 70-hour clock for the week, which, by the way, 8 days, 70 hours. That's it. So you got a 14-hour clock for the day. You got 70 hours in an 8-day period. Now, most of the time I would be parked at a delivery. So in the morning, I get up, I'll go check in. They tell me where dock to get into, and I get into the dock, and I have to wait until they unload me. Now, a lot of times, because I'm parked there, if you go in reverse, or if you only go 4 miles an hour or less, you can keep the logbook from tripping on. So that way I don't have to actually start my log till I leave that delivery.
Wow.
But let's say I had to get up at 7 for a 7:30 appointment. I check in at 7 o'clock, or actually I get up at 6:30 for that 7:30 appointment because I have to wake up. But I go check in at 7 o'clock for the 7:30 appointment. They have me get into a dock. I'm in the dock 15. Be there 2.5 hours to get unloaded. So now I'm up, right? I've been up for 3.5 hours, and I haven't even started my clock yet. I've got load information on my phone letting me know what the next load is I have to pick up. And I already figured out my drive, where I got to go, how I got to do to get there, because, of course, you have to worry about truck routes and all that. It's not just to put it in the GPS on your phone and let it take you there, because trust me, that will take me on roads I am not allowed to be on.
Exactly.
On bridges, or try to cross under overpasses that are way too short for my truck.
Too many videos of that,
We have one actually here in Independence, Missouri, that's a suburb of Kansas City, that is undefeated. The bridge is an 11-foot overpass, and it is undefeated. It has taken out hundreds of trucks, probably thousands of trucks. I mean, it's ridiculous. They actually have a camera now, and I can't remember what the website is, but there's a website
I've seen that.
I think
it's famous. It's just nobody's winning against it.
Nope. Nope. And they constantly trying. It's got so many warning signs. This is 11 foot, but people don't. It's just like,
I've seen
and a
those
lot of them
warning
that get caught are the straight trucks that are not, like a straight truck there's no trailer. It's just looks like a Penske truck or a, U-Haul. Those are the ones that really get, because those people they're just renting that truck. So they don't have a clue how tall they are.
Yeah, they just rent them out, and people don't understand how to, it's kind of crazy because they really aren't authorized. If you were working with business, you wouldn't be authorized to use that truck, but because you can rent it, you can operate a vehicle that clearly isn't within your capabilities, but they do that, and that's what happens.
Yeah. So if I've already started my day for 3.5 hours without even getting anywhere, I still have to run my next load. I have to leave. Now, what I do is I put on the logbook 30 minutes showing my unload. That starts my 14-hour clock. And then I drive. I head on to the load, wherever that is. It could be 30 minutes away. It could be 4 hours away. It just depends on what it worked out best for the company to make as much money as possible. Because for me, I get paid by the mile. It doesn't matter whether I'm empty or loaded. I get paid by all the miles. So it's all about what the company makes the most money off of, that still gets me enough miles to make a good enough paycheck, okay? So let's say that it was a 4-hour drive to the load. Okay, so now I've got the 30-minute unload. I've got the 4-hour drive. There's 4.5 hours of my 14-hour clock gone. Now I get to the shipper. I gotta show the 30-minute load. So that's 5 hours now, and then I can go up into sleeper berth after that. So even if I'm there for 5 hours, which God help me, don't want that, but we'll call it that. I'm there for 5 hours, so I show the unload. Now I'm in the on sleeper for 5 hours or 4.5 hours at that point. You see now I've got 9.5 hours used up my 14-hour clock. Well, what if that load needed 8-hour drive to get where it's going? I'm not getting there tonight, right? I don't have enough time. So there's just a lot into that. And then when you figure in it, once I stop for the night, I have a 10-hour break I have to take before before my log resets to where I can actually get another 14-hour clock. And then we can drive again. So in a situation like that where I was held up for too long, I've already got to start my day driving to the next unload instead of starting at the unload, which further, it always helps if you can be at delivery every day. It's not going to happen every day. That would be like the greatest thing. But unfortunately, in this industry, that never happens. You're going to get held up at shippers and consignees every single day or most days. 2 hours is probably that's probably the sweet spot. If you could stay no longer than 2 hours anywhere, you could be happy. But once you get over that 2 hours, forget about it. And I've actually been at a shipper for 10 hours.
Wow.
So my clock recognized that I was there for 10 hours. All right, that means I can start over, right? Now, mind you, I wasn't sleeping for 10 hours. I was looking at the light, waiting to get loaded or whatever it was, unloaded or loaded, whichever one it was. Because, and when I say light, they back you into the dock. You can, right on the driver's side, there's a red light or green light. When it's red, that means that they are working in your trailer. If it's green, you're free to go. So when you first back in, it's green, and then you have to you're watching it to wait for it to turn red. And then you start feeling the trailer, the truck move and everything as they're loading or unloading. And then eventually that light will turn green again, and that tells me, okay, I can go get my paperwork, and then I can pull out of the dock, close the doors, and head on. So that 10-hour break, I was up probably 4 or 5 of it before I finally laid down and said, fuck them. They can come wake my ass up. It's, that days like that just screw everything up. So yeah, it's not the easiest job in the world. For anybody who sits, all you do is drive. Yeah, but none of you will do my job.
Well, most people won't. If I didn't have to travel to America, I would take up a trucking job. But they're cutthroat and ruthless, and the hair people from the third world who might be able to drive a pass around, Tibetan mountains, but certainly don't know the basics about, North American traffic. But, you know, there's a lot of people in the trucking industry that shouldn't be there. Now, let's move on to the next question. What does your daily diet consist of?
A lot of peanuts.
Why is that?
And I
Just
mean
an
that in
easy food to
seriousness.
eat?
Well, it's because a lot of time, otherwise it's junk food because you got
Well, tell
stops
us what
have
it
fast
is.
food. It's, you name a fast food restaurant, they pretty much have them at a truck stop, whether it's McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's, Hardee's, Carl's Jr., which are obviously their cousins or sisters or brothers or whatever you want to call them. They do have Subways at a lot of them, but Subway is trash. If anybody, knows that, I think they're trash. Um,
There.
some of them have actual sit down restaurants like the Iron Skillets at the Petros. They can have some healthier choices, but all in all, most of the food in the at the truck stops is just junk.
Yeah, but
But you
how
got
do you prepare? Like, do you prepare foods? Do you, like how do you eat?
well, I buy the food at the truck stop.
But
I
then you
mean,
make it in your
basically, I
truck.
keep.
Do you like, for
Oh
example,
no,
do
I
you
don't.
pack meals when you leave home so that you
No,
don't have to do that on the road?
no, I don't have. I don't have a big enough refrigerator to do any of that kind of stuff with. don't have any way of heating anything up. I don't have a microwave or anything like that. I used to have a microwave, but it blew up on me, so I haven't replaced it yet.
In the truck?
But I used to carry, yeah, I used to have the microwave in the, excuse me, microwave in the truck, and I would carry soups, um, some, just some stuff like, okay, especially after the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, there'd be leftover turkey and mashed potatoes and um, stuffing, stuff like that that I could, you know, put in some boxes, and I'd bring it on the truck and put it in the refrigerator, and then I could make up a small bit of it every day or whatever. So I'd have that leftovers to help. But I haven't been able to replace the microwave yet. One day I will, and then I'll be able to do that again. But I do try to maintain. I'll be honest with you. In 13 years of driving, I can tell you I put on 25 pounds, which it sounds great in theory, 2 pounds a year, give or take. But at that rate, I'll be 300, pretty soon.
Now we have a few questions in the chat. We've got Kratos who says, "What's the standard for mandatory rest period for truck drivers where you can't drive a truck for more than 10 hours? For example, a 34-hour rest period is what my father's trucking company allows."
Correct. Okay. So what that state, what I didn't, I forgot to mention that the whole 70-hour clock in 8 days thing. To reset your 70-hour clock, you must have at least 34 hours off duty, which is what I'm like right now. I'm on the weekend, I'm at home. So I'm on my 34, as we call it. Now I'm technically going to be here probably 50 or 60 hours for this weekend because I don't have to. I got home yesterday afternoon and I don't have to be back at work until Monday morning. So I'm going to get a long break, which is great. I was out on the road for 2 weeks. I've actually been home. This is only the second time I've been home since I got back from cruise in April because I've been running. But so, yes, you have to have at least a minimum of 34 hours off duty to reset your 70-hour clock. Otherwise, you have to work on what's called a recap. And the only way I can explain this is once you have reached day 9 of your 70-hour clock, whatever you used on day 1 comes back to you. So let's say, for instance, I ended day 8 with 5 hours to go on my 70-hour clock. On day 1, I had used 8.5. So when I begin day 9, I will have 13.5 hours. Make sense? Dave, are you following me?
Yeah, I'm following.
Okay. So I use that day would leave me with so much hours left for the next day, but I get back days 2's hours, and so on all the way. I hate recapping. Now it's easier with the automated logs because it just does it for you. But back in the day when we were running paper logs, I would have to do the math in my head, going, okay, which day do I get back today? Because I don't want to screw this up. So I really hate recapping. So I would prefer to have my 34-hour restart. So that's what he's referring to right there.
All right, Derailed in the chat says, "J-Man, you should tell Dave the story of the place that refused your load because the guy in one shift didn't tell the next
Oh
shift
yeah.
that you were next."
So I was in Neosho, Missouri, which is down in the southwest corner, down just south
Missouri.
of Joplin. Yep, just south. Actually, that eastern Missourians call it Missouri. It's Missouri or
No,
Missouri.
it's Missouri. It's that
No,
trashy. It's Missouri.
it's no. Anyway, so I got there. Fuck, it was 9 o'clock. I don't remember, 9 o'clock in the morning. I checked in. They tell me, oh, you've got 5 trucks ahead of you. Give us your cell number. We will call you when we're ready to bring you up, but you have to go park at the lot across the street, and then we'll call you and you just come back up, get in the dock, and we'll unload you. Great. 4 or 5, maybe it was 10 o'clock. Anyway, but 4 or 5 hours go by and I haven't heard anything. I've watched some trucks come and go, but I haven't watched the whole time because, I know they're going to call me, so I don't have to sit there and stare at it. So like I said, 4 or 5 hours go, and I drive back up there, and I go check in. I'm like, hey, what's going on? I just It's been a little while. I thought maybe we might be. I hope y'all didn't forget about me or anything like that." He's like, "No, no, 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 no. I got you. As soon as this one of those trucks pull out of the doors, I'm going to be calling you to take their spot." Okay, great, great. Yeah, I head back down to the lot, and I make sure now I park myself where I am looking directly at the docks. About 45 to an hour goes by, and I see a truck pull out. So now I'm like, I'm waiting. I'm looking at my phone. Like, all right, call's coming in, right? I watch him leave, and I watch one more truck pull up and go right into the dock. I'm going, what the fuck just happened? I'm supposed to be the next driver. Nobody called me. So now I pull back up there. And I go up to the door, and they won't let me in this time because it's a different shift. They've changed shifts on me, right? And I'm like, so the guy that answered, he goes, "No, you can't come in." I'm like, "Oh, I was just, I've been in here twice today." He goes, "Yeah, you're not allowed in here." Okay, that's fine, whatever. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on because I was told by the last guy that as soon as the first truck left the dock, they were calling me and I was coming in to take the dock, but yet I just watched somebody else come in to take the dock. He goes, "Well, I don't know what the last guy told you, but I've got my trucks I have to deal with." And I'm like, you realize I've been sitting across the street since 10 o'clock. Here we are, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you still ain't, no one's got me unlocked. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, "Oh, so what you're telling me is I got to just take the bullshit you're fucking feeding me and stick it in my mouth like I fucking enjoy it. That's it? Take it up the ass. We're going to, no big deal. You got this whenever you can get me in." I don't care for your tone, sir. And I'm like, "Look, this is fucking bullshit, and you know it. I've been sitting here for over fucking 6 hours, and you need to get damn dock." And as soon as one pulls out, I'm taking the spot. And he goes, "No, you're not.
Hmm.
And in fact, I'm just turning you away because you're getting irritable or whatever." So I got kicked off the lot for cussing. He couldn't handle my cussing apparently. I called the boss
And
and he says, "Yeah, just go
later
home." And I
that
had to go back.
night, a body was found burned in a field,
No,
unidentifiable, and no connection to J-Man.
no, I actually had to drive back home to Kansas City because that was a Friday, do my weekend, and then drive back down there Monday or Sunday night, and then of course Monday check in and go over the rigmarole again. Only the guy that was there on Monday remembered me from Friday, was very pissed off that nobody unloaded me, and he made sure I was in the dock like immediately, and they unloaded me within 20 minutes. So
Well, that's a nice, action, but certainly the guy who refused you deserved to be probably crucified right there in the parking lot on a light stand and set an example for those that would not service those that feed cities.
yeah, I mean, it just drives me insane when the people just go on their own
And
schedules.
ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why I'm doing this interview, because there's a lot out there that do not understand the shit that this guy has to deal with on a daily basis to feed you, the people.
And honestly, the shippers and the consignee aren't even the worst part of my day.
No, they aren't.
It's you motherfucking
The
cars.
drivers. I knew you were, and I'm glad you're getting into that. But please, unleash your hate,
Uh, I mean,
please, because
I
I
get
could
it.
certainly do so.
Well, look, we all do it. We have our phones. We all do the texting and driving. We all do the looking at our phones for whatever reason while we're driving. But people, you got to be better than that.
What? No,
No, I
nobody needs to fucking look at their phone while they're driving.
start. No, trust me, they do. They do it. They run down the road like they think that
No,
because they're
no.
constantly looking at it, looking up, looking at it,
Want
looking up.
and need
Looking
are two
at,
different things. They
oh,
want to do it, fine, but they don't
I,
need to do it.
I've told my daughter. I said, "Look, you're 14 now. It means 2 years chance for a license. When I start teaching you how to drive, you know where your phone's going to be? Where? It says it's going to be in the glove box."
Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Locked in the glove box.
She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because that way you're not distracted by it. I want you to get used to that to where when you're out on your own driving, you always put it in the glove box and you don't have to think about it. I
I
don't want to lose you to an incident because you were looking at your phone.
I would
Because that's how
suggest
most people are getting wrecks anymore."
that you take a look at some of the, because American propaganda for anti inebriated driving could go a lot further. In England, for example, they've done videos where you see a video of this girl who's just looking at her phone as she's driving and gets in the most fucking horrendous accident. And just like a fucking rated R movie, this fucking commercial is quite bloody. And it says, yeah, don't fucking be messing with your phone while you're driving, and they use
Well,
graphic elements to highlight that. Now, before we can continue, I will have to talk about the donation that we just got. So the one and only Joe Blonin has donated, and he says, "Let's go, Dave Rose live." This is off topic, so this should be fun. But never address that rookie C-Man. I guess I kind of did with that, but okay, I won't. He needs to rank himself up before Big Dog Dave Rose listens to a single sentence. He's more irrelevant than Simo, just like Travis Charlie Chan. Seaman is a community jobber who wishes he had the status of Dave fucking Rose in this community. I'll have to agree with that. Then he continues and says, also, Seaman started war with Rose. Rose actually gave this kid Rookie of the Year. Again, proven correct, Mr. Bowden. So thank you for that donation. Great points made, although not necessarily relative to the conversation, but I appreciate that. And yeah, let's continue.
Yeah, I wanted to point out what It's a Costanza says in the chat about how cars now have touchscreens. Not only do they have touchscreens, but if you've ever been in a Tesla, those touchscreens are about 12 inches. It's like a 12-inch screen right there on the fucking dash. And I'm like, and they have video games you can play.
Oh,
and I'm
now
like,
you can hook in Netflix. Yeah, because that's what you want. You ought to be watching a movie.
Yeah, well, I want to watch
driving.
a movie while I'm driving down the road. Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
you know, I could tell you a story. Now, did involve a truck driver. Truck driver talking on the phone. In fact, not only was he talking on his phone, he was holding it and he was video chatting with his wife.
Ugh.
And because he was video chatting, he, wasn't looking up enough. And he rear-ended the back of another semi. The problem is because he was so late to brake, when he rear-ended the other truck, the force of what he was carrying, he had steel I-beams.
It went right through the back of his cab, trailer. Didn't it?
Not only did it go through the back of his cab, it went through him. Imagine being the wife.
Yeah, listening to this live on air.
All she could hear was the boom, bang, gurgle, gurgle, gurgle.
Yeah, well, I gotta lay that blame on the trucker.
Absolutely. But it's not, I only bring that up because that was just the worst case scenario for anybody driving while distracted. In fact, if you go back and look, anybody that has Discovery Plus, you can find all the that TV show with the Mythbusters. You can find all the episodes. They actually did an episode where which was worse, distracted driving or drinking and driving. Though both were bad for you as a driver, the distracted driving was worse.
Wow.
Think about that.
I can understand that.
I'm telling everybody, no, don't drink and drive. Don't think that I'm saying that. But just to say that you're far worse to be distracted in driving than you are if you're drinking and driving.
That says a lot.
And that's the problem. You got women out there doing their makeup in the rearview mirror while driving down the road. I've seen it all the time. Everybody constantly on their phones, and the worst part is they're weaving. They don't even realize it. They'll look up every now and then, jerk the wheel, whatever. But they look up and down, up and down, up and down, and sometimes they might look down a little too long, and eventually, they're into somebody's ass or somebody's all over. It's you gotta pay attention to the road. Your life and everybody else's life is more important than that goddamn phone.
Exactly. Now, Kratos, is a lot of questions going on in the chat. You got Casey trying to start shit, but I'm gonna leave that for you guys to deal with when you know go on your shows and all that. But Kratos in the chat says, J-Man, with the rise in gas prices, do you believe that diesel fuel will cost more than $7 in another few years? It's currently over 5 in the St. Louis area.
I could tell you that I would imagine that even some states like California are already over $7 a gallon for diesel. Missouri is one of the cheapest states in the country when it comes to fuel and smokes.
Well,
So
then you should start fucking contraband, like selling contraband smokes. I think that's the best way to make some
I
fucking money.
know, I can tell you right now, I know drivers from around the country that always try to buy their cigarettes when they're in Missouri because they know they'll get them cheaper
I
there.
have no doubt. And again, if you're an entrepreneur, I have no problem with that. I mean, if you can recognize how to exploit the system, which is trying to exploit you, well, you make a profit out of it. Good for you. You're an entrepreneur. I salute you.
Yeah, I don't play. I won't be playing that because
Just don't traffic kids. That's all I ask.
that
Don't traffic kids, humans. Uh, Firearms are questionable. You know.
that goes. Trust me, the cigarettes goes against the ATF. It's still federal. So if you bought
Yeah, they're
cigarettes in
one of the biggest
Missouri,
fucking crime
and
syndicates out there, the ATF. So.
yes, but if you bought cigarettes in Missouri and decided to upsell them on the road and got caught, yeah, you're going to federal
No,
prison.
just I smoke a lot, officer. I smoke a lot of cigarettes.
Uh,
But these are gifts. These are like party favors. That's all it
yeah,
is.
yeah. I'm not messing with
Oh,
that.
my buddy wants to pay me gas money? No problem. Thank you, buddy. There's no crime here, officer. No crime at all. That's how you work things out. You learn how to play the system. All right, let's get back to this. Drew's saying stuff in the chat.
Yeah, he said
Um,
most spouses don't get to hear the significant other's death rattle. Got to look on the bright side.
So let's go on to the next question. What do you like about being a truck driver? And hold on, and correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the again? I know that you're not a tranny or anything, and you're not emotional, so you don't demand pronouns or anything. So, but I still have to ask: is that how you want to be referred to? A truck driver, semi driver, a feeder of cities? Like how that's actually a nice title, feeder of cities. What would you prefer to be referred to
I
as?
mean, truck driver's fine. I'm not crazy. I don't, I'm not. I'm definitely not one of
Cartage?
those.
You are
Huh?
a provider of cartage? I mean, that's also technically correct. I mean, again,
I think
you
truck
get to
driver's
choose your
easier
title here.
too.
You are now,
Yeah, I'm going with truck driver. I think that's
all right. So, what do you like best about being a truck driver?
the probably the two biggest things. First off, no coworker. I know everybody who has worked on a job basis where you've got work with these coworkers here, these coworkers there, that coworker, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes, I do.
There are coworkers you like, and there are coworkers you just despise, and you hope when you get to work they've already been fired.
Despise them.
So that is a number one, the greatest reason of being a truck driver. There are no coworkers. Nobody next to me to piss me to fuck off, to not do their job correctly, where I have to pick up their slack.
I
None of
could
that
dig
shit.
it. I could totally see that motivation just from that alone.
Number two, no boss standing over my shoulder.
Hell yeah.
Do it this way, do it that way, do it this way. You're not doing it right. Well, you a deadline, son. Yes, is there somebody that technically has authority over my vehicle where where I got to go pick up the load, where I got to take it to, all that kind of stuff? Absolutely. But as far as the route planning and all that stuff, the way I drive, that's all on me.
Yep.
Nobody's standing over my shoulder saying I did it wrong or I didn't do it right, whatever. So those are the two greatest things about this industry.
Love it. All right. Well, let's look at the absolute opposite. What don't you like about being a truck driver?
That's hard because
I guess it's a long
probably
list.
No, actually, it's not. It's not that. I mean, it's hard being because I don't know that I would say that there's anything I really absolutely don't like. I mean, it sucks that I don't get to spend as much time with my daughter as I wish I could. You
Okay, no,
know,
but hold on.
that
What?
might
Okay,
be
okay. Let me put it this way. I've known several truck drivers. Um, the way that some of these companies have treated them, in my opinion, is absolute slavery, which is one of the reasons I didn't go into this. I had the opportunity to actually go for training and stuff, and I chose not to because the companies that I was seeing that were hiring, um, not only would they exploit their workers, but even the slightest damage to a truck or anything like that would be, you know, uh, sort of heaped upon the driver as if it was like something that was done on purpose and no support, like very toxic environments from what I saw.
okay. Well, when I first started as a driver, I started as a flatbed driver for a company called TMC. They're based in Des Moines. They have big black Peterbilt trucks and then flatbed trailers, but they're only about 48 foot long. But steel, lumber, all that stuff they put on the flatbed. You got to do the securing, you got to do tarping, all that stuff. So it's a more physical job. I loved it because that really helped with the weight issue because I got more exercise when I was doing that than I do since I've been driving a van. But I had some incidences with them. But my fleet manager with TMC is the owner of the company I work for now and have been working for almost 10 years. Will be January, be 10 years. So we were friends, me and my fleet manager, before he started his own company. I was still at TMC another year or so before I went and joined my friend. So now my boss is my friend. So I don't, and I mean, I'm well taken care of. Actually, some people think too taken care of. In fact, even my mom has said, "What do you do? Do you blow this fucking guy that you get all these special treatment?" My mother has actually said that line. I mean, that's how great I get taken care of. If I want to spend my weekend, you know, hell, I've spent a weekend with Casey in Oklahoma. If I wanted to go do that, I could on Monday that week I could go to the boss and be like, "Hey, this weekend, Friday night, I want to be in Oklahoma so I can go visit my buddy, Casey." Done. That's less than a week's notice. If I want to go to Detroit, I've got friends that live up in Detroit. I go spend the weekend up there. I've got a friend in Tennessee. I go spend the weekend there. I used to have a friend down in Alabama, down on the Gulf Shores, that I would go down and spend the weekend down there. And I could just, like I said, on Monday, I'd be like, all right, this Friday, I want to be here. Some of the longer trips, like the Gulf Shore trip or Vegas, that usually has to be planned in advance because that's not something that can be done in a week. So usually I might say, hey, actually with Vegas, I just tell them, you get me out there some weekend. I want to go to Vegas. I've been 6 times. I love 5 of those 6 were actually weekends in the truck. I love going to Vegas. So whenever they know, just if you got a load going to Vegas that's going to get me there for the weekend, put it on me. I'm going. They don't even, it's not even a question. Hey, we got the Vegas load. Done. Let's go. And I get to turn down loads. So again, I got that luxury. Um, occasionally I have to borrow some money from the boss to help some bills, and then when I pay that, he just, of course, he'll work something out, pay that back. I mean, he pays for my cell phone service. He actually bought the
As he
phone.
should. As
I
he
mean,
should.
because I'm like, why do you want to pay for my cell phone bill? He goes, well, first off, adding you to the company cell phone list, it's probably going to add $50 to my account. He goes, you use your phone for work, so what's the difference? I'm like,
No, more
okay,
importantly, is you should you should never have to pay for your phone bill if you're working for a company. They need to communicate with you. It's their line of communication, which means they buy it for you. You have your personal phone for whatever reason, but if the company needs to be able to communicate, they're the ones who should be paying the fucking bill. I've never accepted this idea like, oh well, you can use your personal cell phone to work with us. Well, what compensation am I getting to use my fucking minutes. Well, nothing. Well, then why would I do that then?
And as Drew says in the chat, I concur. This dude spoils the hell out of you talking about my boss. He does. I mean, if I'm up there for
I don't get what he's saying.
he's
To be honest.
talking about he's heard some of the stories that I've told him from my about my boss. So he's saying that he concurs. He knows that my boss spoils the hell out of me, as I've been saying, and he does. He'll buy me breakfast,
It's
lunch, or
probably that
dinner
dreamy
depending on
hair.
when I'm up there. You know, so there's okay, I go out to Vegas one weekend, and he's like, hey, here's $400, go have a ball. And I'm also going to get you a hotel because it's like 108 degrees, and it'd be easier if you don't have the truck idling, so that way you can have a hotel. I mean, but that's all on him. He just pays for that. four
As
hundred
he
bucks to go
should.
spend at the casinos. Here's a hotel. Boom.
Well,
So
I
like
agree
I
with
said, I
you.
have a great.
I agree
So
with
like I said, there's really nothing to hate about my job, other than if you really want to call it a hate. It's not. I don't know if I'd call it hate. I dislike the fact that I don't get to spend as much time with my daughter. However, I can actually bring my daughter on the road with me at times, so that helps.
you.
So I
Okay.
would say there's really nothing I dislike or hate in
Well,
general about the job.
the answer that probably would have, enticed people more. Your answer is quite boring, just to coach you here. But you could have said something like encountering rush hour traffic in the middle of a city with these idiots that are pointing guns at me, or people protesting in the middle of the highway, or I had to run down a raccoon because it got in the way. Like, that's the stuff people want. Those are the stories people want, not just.
Sure. They've seen all these movies of where they excite the trucking industry. What was it, the show you talked about earlier?
Ice Was it Ice Road Truckers
Well, no,
or
we were going to get to there. I'm talking about the one you showed the picture of.
oh, Trailer Park Boys?
Yeah, the Trailer Park Boys, whatever, the Eastbound and Down, whatever. The
Yeah.
different. They like make it look so exciting. Like all this stuff
No,
just
they
happens to
they
these
make it they
drivers.
make it look both trashy and yet, um, you know, what's the best word? Like sort of like extravagant. Like
Yeah,
there's a mystique. And again, Smoking the Bandit also I think is added to that in other movies, Convoy for example, but um the media's added a mystique to it as well, but that mystique I don't think is false, because what you're telling me is exactly what seems to fit with that, is that you have that delicious freedom that you can just drive the road, drive your load, and just enjoy. Like pop on fucking George Norrie or Art Bell, listen to coast to coast as you travel across a highway, and like there's a lot of freedom to that I don't think many people seem to be aware of.
yeah. And when I'm down, there's times I can have longer. Like that's the other thing. We don't the rules of the 70 hours, the 12 hours, or the 14 hours, the 11 hours, the 10-hour break, the 34-hour weekend, all that stuff. I mean, there's still flexibility in there. There might be a day where the miles suck. Maybe I get unloaded. I wake up at 7. I get unloaded by 8, and I'm rolling. But maybe I only had to drive an hour to the shipper and then 4 hours to the delivery. So I didn't have a long day. I'm going to have 17 hours down before I have to worry about doing anything the next day. I got pads to watch movies. I've got a TV. I've got my PlayStation 4, not a 5. I still have yet to waste any money on that. I have the 3 and the 4 actually. So I've got video games to play. I've got movies I can watch. I've got all kinds of shit I can do to entertain myself in that sleeper. So, I mean, I have my entertainment. It's not you're by yourself. That's the thing. So if you're somebody that can handle being by yourself pretty much every day of every week, this is the job. I'm telling you. Yes. Are there some stressful times? Absolutely. In fact, there's not one job in the world that makes more life or death decisions in a 60-second time frame than a truck driver.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I've seen the videos. Literally, like you could run over a car and just totally destroy it, or jackknife your truck, or run into a ditch, and eventually have your vehicle basically topple over because you chose to save life. I'm of the mentality that no, you try to brake check a fucking truck or you are stupid. Well, the truck needs to continue safely. So if your vehicle gets put under wheel and you get thrown to the side of the road underneath the truck, you die, whatever. Sorry, you should have been paying attention here. And don't
I,
brake
I'm
check
I
trucks. Don't brake check trucks.
I
Simple.
am of the firm belief, if I could get Congress to get convinced of this, that if we as a driver have it on video to show that this driver was harassing us, brake checking us, what have you, so we had to punt them into the median, we should be able to get away with it. As long as we have it on video to prove it.
You're not going far enough, my friend. You should be personally allowed to put a bullet between their eyes.
No, that I'm not. I don't. I wouldn't. I
Okay, well
don't
then you
want
can
to
hand
condone
that
murder in any
responsibility off
way,
to
shape,
somebody
or
else.
form. But if I can, but if I have the ability to just fucking hit their car when they hit the brakes and it pushes them off the road into the median and wrecks them out,
Look, no,
whatever. I should have that ability as long as I've got it on.
Forget about
video.
even that. Forget about even that. You're driving, minding your own business. This guy doesn't like the fact that you're in the middle rail, middle lane, fucking doing your own thing. You're not bothering nobody. He doesn't like it. So, he's the type of piece of shit that passes on the right. Okay? So
Yep.
he gets in front of you and stops and does a brake check. No braking for you, my friend. You should continue on. If your truck ends up hitting him because he chose to do that, it goes off into the guardrail, flips over, bursts into flames. There's nothing that you did wrong. Okay? He brought that upon himself. He deserves to burn. And I would defend you to my last breath because that is not acceptable.
The problem is, Dave, is that without the video evidence, all you're going to look like is there, because I can tell you right now, I know you probably never traveled in the States very often. Those that have and do travel the interstates will tell you, especially in the South, there are tons of billboards that say, hit by truck, call X number.
Oh, so they're setting up for basically people to defraud these companies. Let's just
Correct.
purposely brake check these trucks so that we can get a lottery win.
Right.
Excellent.
Exactly. So the point is that that's why the law would have to be set up in a way that says, as long as you have video proof they were harassing you, you have every right to hit them and drive on.
How about this? Let's just make a rule. Well, I know it's common sense, but I guess we're going to have to basically legislate everything because common sense is the least common of the senses. But how about this? Yield for trucks. Done. That solves the entire problem. Yield for trucks.
Except that nobody cares.
No, well then you know what? Then it's perfectly
Dave,
fine in my opinion if they get thrown into the fucking guardrail, explode into flames, and they burn.
I would agree 100%.
I
Unfortunately,
said
they won't allow
earlier.
me to do it. But you have to understand, the only time that people cared about us truck drivers was when there was a shortage of fucking TP.
No, see, I'm not that type of person. I know there's a lot of other people that don't think that way. I've always said this. I break for two types: bikers and truckers. I'll give you a room. I'll flag you in. I'll fucking actually bring traffic to a standstill so you guys are fucking safe. And I don't give a flying fuck about what the fucking drivers around me are doing. Whatever they want to fucking complain to me, yell at me. Fine, whatever. But you know what? I break for two: truckers and bikers.
No, like I said, I'm glad that you are like that. And yes, there are a bunch of them, probably some in the chat that are as well like that. Unfortunately, there are a lot more that just find me a nuisance because I'm in the way. I'm preventing them from. Oh, God forbid, I'm in the fast lane. Now, mind you, most trucks are governed. Mine is as well. Mine is governed at 75.
Yeah, but
So
most people are too
for
stupid to even understand that. They
no,
don't even understand
right,
what govern means.
right. But here's the problem: most trucks are governed anywhere from 62 to 67.
Speak Canadian.
Most interstates, I can't speak Canadian, sorry. Most most interstates in the United States is 70-mile-an-hour speed limit. That means they're already governed at less than the speed limit.
Yep.
So if a 67-mile-an-hour truck that's governed catches a 64-mile-an-hour truck in the slow lane, it is going to get into the fast lane at 67 to go around the 64-mile-an-hour truck. While that's happening, there are a line of cars behind going, "Come on, you fucking truck driver, get the fuck out of the way. I'm in a goddamn hurry." And then when they get around that truck, they're flipping them off, they're honking their horn, whatever. Maybe there's one that'll jump over in front of the truck, give a quick brake check,
What are you
and go.
talking about? You should be able to get from first to 12th gear in 2 seconds. Why are you
Right,
taking your time, slowing
yeah,
down, going so
right,
slow,
yeah, yeah. Because 80,000 pounds just can move at a
Well, of
drop
course
of a
it
dime.
can. You guys got rockets on your fucking trucks.
I actually met a cop one day. He said he pulled over a lady that actually cut a truck off because the situation was she was passing the truck, but she was only passing the truck at like a mile or two faster than the truck. And a car got up on her ass and it made her nervous. And as soon as she cleared the front bumper of the truck, she got over. So basically, for a truck like mine, a conventional, not a cab over. Somebody asked me that earlier. I have never driven a cab over, and I never will. And anybody who doesn't know what a cab over is, BJ and the Bear, TV show back in the 80s. If you don't know what that is, basically a cab over is just a flat front. The windshield is even with the entire front of the truck. So the motor is actually
like
right
Optimus
under.
Prime.
Yes, the original Optimus Prime, not the
Yes.
one they fucking
The only one that
changed.
matters.
Yes.
They're
So,
the
but
worst aerodynamically. I've seen the analysis.
Right. I would
But-
never drive one of those. I would always drive a conventional, which has a hood. Now, if you cut me off by literally cutting in front of me,
I would kill
where there's less than a foot between the front bumper of me and your back bumper, with most conventional trucks, you don't even exist. I can't see you over
Yeah.
the hood of my truck.
They don't even understand that. First of
So
all,
if you get on the brakes, you're dead. You're just a speed bump. Now, here's what happened. The lady did that, and the cop happened to be, right on the side of the highway watching. So he pulls her over. And I said, so what'd she say? He said, well, he's got 18 wheels. He can stop on a dime.
another reason why women should not be able to vote.
It's not even a deal of sexist, Dave. You have no idea how many males out there believe the same fucking thing.
Of course, I've seen that before, but it's not being sexist for me to point out a reality that women specifically make an issue about this and are truly ignorant. What you find with men is they try to be vindictive. They're like, "Oh, I'm not going to allow this guy to get in front of me. I'm going to brake check him." It's like, dude, I've got like how many tons of fucking cargo? I can't stop quick enough to fucking not hit you. In fact, you might even die. But no, you're not thinking about that. All you're thinking about is personal satisfaction. To try to somehow show me a point by brake checking me and being so stupid that you don't realize, yeah, you can do that. And even if I brake, I'm still going to run over you and you're going to be fucking pizza.
So, just a little inside information. We're not allowed to carry a gun. Federal law. No trucks are allowed to carry a gun. But I have a tire thumper. It looks like a miniature baseball bat. It's about 2 feet long and it's all wood, but it looks like a miniature baseball bat.
Officially. I'm just saying officially because, again, your forefathers did provide you with the ability to defend yourself. So, if you do or you don't, it's not my business.
Yeah,
but if
unfortunately,
you decide to defend yourself in any sort of way, it's perfectly within your right.
But anyway, so I've got that tire thumper. always right beside my seat. Driving through Milwaukee one day, coming up on a construction zone. The signs have been posted for miles that the left lane is ending. Car comes up like he's going to run past me. I mean, and we're literally, if he would have had to be doing 90 to get around me fast enough before that
Holy
lane
shit.
ended. Okay, he wasn't. I could
What
see
was
he
he
was.
doing?
I don't know, but I because I cut him off.
Nice.
Okay.
Shit. That's
So I cut him
ballsy.
off. We get to the barrels, and of course, I get into the correct lane. He actually goes into the construction zone, somehow missing the barrels, comes around me, cuts back in front of me, and comes to a complete fucking stop on the interstate and opens up his door. And I'm like, all right, I've been waiting for this day my
Pull out
whole
his
fucking life. I get the door open. I have the fucking tire thumper right in my hand. I get outside. He sees that tire thumper. He jumps in his car and he is the fuck gone. I was like, damn it. I thought this was going to be my moment. I was going to thump the fuck out of this guy. And when the cops got there, I could go, hey, he just drove right through the fucking construction barrels and cut me the fuck off and just stopped.
Yeah, and again, on top of that, first of all, why are people considering what type of people drive trucks? They know that, what they should know, that they've got to deal with some sticky situations. So you don't think they're going to be prepared to deal with this sort of shit, especially after what happened, with the LA riots and all that, that trucker who got killed? Like,
Yeah,
don't
you'll
think for
never
a
catch me
second
being him.
truckers aren't prepared.
The hell is his name? Denny.
I can't
Damn
remember.
it.
It was a sad case,
Yeah,
but
yeah. You'll never see me in a situation like that. I have told people time and time again, if I was to ever come across a fucking unconstitutional, unlawful protest on an interstate, because they're not lawful, they're not constitutional. Your protests are never allowed on a fucking interstate. They are allowed on city streets, but not on an
well,
interstate.
and
If I was ever to come across a line of fucking people on the interstate, you can bet your ass I am blowing through at
well,
75
in
with the horn on pulled.
2016, a similar thing happened where a trucker did encounter this sort of thing, and instead of actually doing exactly what you suggested, which is the right thing to do, he sort of slowed down, and all these people started to mount his truck and try to pull him out of his truck and so forth. So your strategy is correct. And more importantly is that it's going to happen, people. It's going to happen. People like J-Man are going to say, you know what? I'm not going to go in that city. I'm not going to take that load. You don't like that? Too fucking bad.
Oh, it already has happened.
Well, no, of course, but it's
When
going to happen more and more. So cities are going to starve, and it's going to be the fault of these people who have pushed these policies of diversity. It's as simple as
when
that.
when Minnesota, when Minneapolis was going through all the riots from the George Floyd incident, there were hundreds of drivers, if not thousands of drivers, that flat out said, not even going.
Smart.
They're not getting their shit from me because I'm not dealing with I'm Reginald Denny, by the way, is the name of the driver. I just had to look it up, but the one from the
Yes,
LA riots.
that's the one.
They all and that's name is known among truck drivers. We are not going to be a Reginald Denny. You're not going to catch me getting janked out of my truck and beat down for no goddamn reason whatsoever because I didn't do a damn thing. I didn't cause the incident they're rioting about. No.
So, ladies and gentlemen, J-Man is apparently a white supremacist because he's not willing to risk his life for those that want to kill him. So just keep that in mind.
Oh, if that's the definition, I guess, then yes.
Basically, at least these days. All right, let's move on back to our list of questions. And again, this has been great because we've really gone on to a lot of, and this is what I love, to be able to start on a topic and then to move on to things that are related but aren't necessarily something that was planned, but something anticipated regardless. So, next question is, what is something that you think people should know about truckers and the trucking industry?
Well, I think this still goes back to the driving are drivers. I honestly believe that they need to make every driver go through CDL school just to get their driver's license. They would learn so much more about how to be able to drive around us and how we have to be able to drive around them. It just would, you don't have to get your CDL. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying at 16, instead of here's a written test and here's a driver's test while you drive through some neighborhood. Oh, stop at this stop sign, stop at this stoplight, make a right turn here, make a left turn here, do a little parallel parking. Okay, here's your license. No, fuck all that. Put them through the 4 weeks of CDL training. Even if they don't want the CDL license, well, of course you can't get it till later on anyway, 21. But still, if every kid at 16 had to go through CDL for 4 weeks of learning, then they'd understand what it's like, what we do.
Yep.
And they'd be a lot more respectful on the highways around us. That's the problem. This generation, the last generation, even my generation, and the one before that, there are so many people out there that still have no fucking clue. You know, Dave, I'll ask you this question. I know you're very intelligent. Let me ask you this question. If you had to pick between these three options, which do you think stops the fastest? A semi truck with no trailer, a semi truck with an empty trailer, or a semi truck with a loaded trailer? Which one do you believe stops the absolute fastest?
The first one.
So you would say the semi truck without the trailer
Yes, correct.
actually takes the longest.
Really?
The loaded trailer is the fastest to stop.
Interesting. So
And
I guess the mounted weight allows for, I guess, a
Traction.
reduction in speed and traction.
It gives you
much
traction.
quicker.
See, here's the thing. If you're a bobtail, is what we call it. A tractor without a trailer is just a bobtail.
Hold
There's
on. Before you
nothing-
continue, I just want to remind people that, again, I am, even J-Man said I was intelligent. I should have figured this out, but obviously this is the trick question, is that it makes perfect sense when you really analyze it. And I find it hilarious that, I didn't catch it the first time, but he's got the point, is that more weight, more mass, will allow for you to utilize that inertia to slow down quicker. So, you can, call truckers ignorant and stupid all you fucking want. But this guy, J-Man, is the type of guy that can prevent your life from ending because some piece of shit cut him off and he has to stop in time before he crushes your car. Please continue.
So a bobtail, as we call it, that's the tractor without the trailer. There is no weight on the drives, on those 8 wheels behind the sleeper. So when you, as a bobtail, have to jam on the brakes, those all 8 wheels are just hopping. Pop, 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 pop,
But they
pop,
have
along.
additional weights, don't they? Sorry, additional brakes. These additional wheels
They all
have
they
brakes.
could you lock no like you. I'm saying you hit the fucking brake as hard as you can because you are locking it up. Those drives, those 8 wheels on the behind the sleeper, will just skip across the ground because there's no weight holding them to the surface.
Got it. Okay.
When there's a trailer on, even an empty trailer, it allows a little bit of weight to the drive, so it'll help the drives. But now your trailer tires are popping and skidding across
But
the ground.
the trailer wheels have their own brake system, right?
Sure,
So
sure.
you're having additional restriction, from movement. So like instead of having just 8 wheels, now you have 12 wheels or 16 wheels that are preventing you from sliding.
Well, what it is like I said, without the weight, those wheels they just skip on the ground.
Oh,
So if they're skipping on the
okay.
ground, you're not coming to the stop very fast. Now, with the fully weighted truck and trailer and all the weights out there, all the wheels are basically glued to the ground. When you jam on the brakes, yeah, you might skid, but your wheels will never hop. It's that hopping that creates the extra distance in stopping.
Yeah, apparently, that sort of logic and physical, physics understanding is beyond the comprehension of some blue-collared, redneck like yourself, right? Knowing this sort of thing, knowing how to be able to survive or drive in, perilous conditions, because I'm sure that you've driven in conditions, weather-wise,
Oh
that
God, I've driven in conditions where I couldn't even see the hood of my truck.
I'd be scared the fuck
That's
out of that
five
sort
feet
of
in front
shit.
of me, right?
How
Five to
how
six
far?
feet somewhere. 5 to 6 feet
Oh my!
is
And you
to
kept
the front of the
driving?
hood. No, I was looking for a way out.
Oh, I can't imagine that shit, dude. Like it's unimaginable. And I'm sure that again, driving cross country, you have no ability to plan for the weather. So if a blizzard hits you, it's not like you had a 10-minute warning and be like, oh, I think I'll pull off to the side of the road and just be okay here. I'll just go into the nearest Motel 8. It's
Well,
just,
actually, Dave, to be honest with you, when it comes to trip planning, that's a lot of the things that are taken in consideration is weather, traffic, everything.
yeah, but
Not only
weather
do you have
isn't
to,
predictable.
no,
You
it's
know that.
no, you, it's not 100% predictable, absolutely. But when you see that, let's say I pick up a load in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it's going to Denver, Colorado, which is only about a 7 hour drive, but I look at the weather and it sees that Denver is going to have a fucking blizzard 3 hours before I get there, I'm not going all the way to Denver, right? It's that's the planning.
Understandable, but I mean, for example, here in Ontario, it's like, oh, we were supposed to get a storm yesterday. There was no storm. It was fucking beautiful.
That
So how do you
happens.
plan around that shit?
You have to go on what your weather and mapping is said. Now, obviously, there's the other scenario too, where you're looking at the weather map and it says yes, it's going to be rain and it's going to be 38. Now, obviously, snow could fall around 35. So as long as that temperature doesn't drop, let's say 40 actually. So it says that Denver's going to be 40 and raining. Well, if they're wrong on the temperature and it actually drops lower than that, there's a chance that that rain becomes sleet or snow.
Yep.
But say you risk it. I'll risk it, get it up there, hope that the weather stays at 40 and doesn't drop any lower than that before I get there. We're good. Well, then all of a sudden it fucking downturns. Drops to 15. Now you're in a full ass fucking blizzard, snow and ice everywhere. Now you just got to find a place to park. That's all you can do. Be safe on the road, drive real slow, all that shit, throw your flashes, your hazards on, all the safety and everything. Sometimes you come driving west across Kansas into Colorado. Drew knows about this. He's done it many a times as well. But as you get further out west, there are times where you could run into such heavy fog that you can't see 6 feet in front of you.
Wow. Fog. I wouldn't expect that. I would expect that from Portland, from even Toronto, Maryland, like just places where you have, ocean, but fog in Kansas?
Yep, a lot.
Wow.
You just slow down and you find the nearest exit and find a place to park. That's all you, because if you can't see the very hood of your truck, you certainly can't see the cars that are even
Yeah, but
that are out there too.
do you pull over to the side of the road or do you pull into a truck stop? Do you pay attention to these sorts of alerts so that you understand that okay, something's coming? I've got to get into a truck stop, or do you just pull at the side of the road and say, okay, I'm just gonna have to wait it up?
You throw the hazards on because obviously, especially in a truck, you've got a lot more of those lights flashing than even a car. But you throw the hazards on, you slow down. You can get on the shoulder to ease on the shoulder if there's enough of it. You don't want to get completely on it because some highway shoulders are not strong enough to hold the weight. So you got to still be on the main drag as well. But yes, you're looking for that exit as soon as you can, and you've got everybody alert to you, hopefully that nobody just fucking rams into the back of you while you're slowing down looking for an exit. By the way, it's the Costanza's asking, do I get warnings about DOT checkpoints to avoid them? Occasionally, but honestly, he even talks about it being kind of a money grab by the police. But if you're not illegal, there's nothing to worry about with a DOT
See,
checkpoint.
I haven't admitted yet that I'm actually driving pace for you, and I'm just like Bandit, and observing all the different speed traps. So I'm radioing you on my CB, letting you know, and you know.
Oh, that's another thing that you're the the CB radio is very rarely used anymore.
See,
I
this,
don't even
I
I don't
can't.
even
Yes,
have a
please
I
tell
don't
everyone
even
about this because this is again something. Actually, before we continue, sorry, we just got a donation, so I quickly have to address this.
go ahead.
So we're gonna put the empanada dance because I love empanadas, and the donation is from the one and only Joe Blonin. So let me just quickly go here and check the message. But he says, hold on. Uh, Oh, it's the Pitbull. Says, Pitbull here, bark, bark. Let's stick to topic this time. As a truck driver, are you supposed to load goods yourself once arrived to destination? Or do you need to load up your truck? So that's a question from the Pitbull himself.
I work under 99% no touch freight, which means that warehouse or wherever I'm at, they do the loading and unloading. There is an occasional load, like I said, obviously the 1%, it's less than 1% really, but probably in my entire 13 years of driving, I have had to help unload a load probably 8 times. And usually what will happen is it's all palletized and I got to use a pallet jack and move it from the front of the trailer to the back of the trailer. So
That's
a
not
fork,
part of your fucking contract. You don't lift a
but
fucking finger. These people
yeah,
do it. They got the fucking
well,
warehouse people to do it for them.
that's why they call it 99% no touch because there's that 1% where you might have to. That's fine. No big deal. But again, 8 times in 13 years, I'm not going to complain. And
That's not too bad.
as far as the CB, like I was saying, it's not. There still are those guys that will be on there, and they
Be
just
me, baby.
you've if anybody has ever seen the movie Big Trouble in Little China,
Yes. Yes.
when you hear, especially at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie, when he's going off on the CB, there are a lot of drivers still today like that will just want to talk your ear off, and you can't really get a word in edgewise. They're just telling their story, whatever the story is, whatever. And I don't even give a shit. I don't even have mine
Better than talk
on.
radio. How about that?
Talk radio. I know a lot of people. I listen to sports talk
No,
radio
but
a
I'm just
lot.
saying that like you don't have to pay for that shit. You can let them talk your ear off, and
If you want to hear it, but sometimes
if
it's
you
like,
if you want to
you
hear
know,
it.
how you should have seen that big titted bitch at the back at the truck stop. I'm telling you what,
Oh,
them
breaker,
things
breaker,
was
niner,
about
niner,
falling out
breaker,
of
breaker.
glass, and I was hoping they would because I wanted to get a look at them some bitches. I mean, that's the kind of shit you hear a lot of times.
You know what? I don't know if I'm sadistic, but I'd be willing to deal with that. Now, quickly, Costanza says, do you get warnings about
Yeah, I
docked
covered that.
checkpoints? You did? Sorry.
Sorry, I covered that. And again, like I said, I occasionally you get some warnings, whatever, but I'm not. I don't worry about them because fine, pull me over. Here's the
I'll shoot
greatest.
you in the face, motherfucker.
Here's another thing great about my job. I get pulled into a DOT station. I get a clean bill from the DOT officer.
And
That's
I
a
shoot him in the
$100 in the
face.
pocket, baby. My company owes me $100 every time
Really?
that happens.
That's hilarious.
So I have no. I actually want it. Pull
Bring
me
me
in.
in,
Give me
motherfuckers.
that because I'm clean. There's nothing about my truck you're gonna have an issue with. There's nothing about my paperwork you're gonna have an issue
I,
or my logbook.
I,
I'm
I
good.
can
Let's go.
I can see you basically in a speedo on top of your fucking truck hood while he's driving like 90 on the highway, just taunting the cops. Take me in, motherfuckers. Take me in.
No, I think that would get me a ticket, and I wouldn't get my $100.
No, but then you get proof that you're running a good rig, and it's just a misdemeanor. So
Well, no, but the actually standing on the hood of the truck while it's in motion and nobody behind the wheel, that part would, you know.
I'd get you off on that. Don't you worry. All right, so let's ask another question that I've got lined up here. How many American states have you visited?
Every one of them except for Alaska and Hawaii.
Well, that does sound like a rule of a contest because you can apply for this contest unless you're in Alaska or Hawaii. But so you've basically been throughout the entire continental United States.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Actually,
Um,
I achieved that in the first 11 months of driving.
that's insane because that's a lot of distance to cover in only 11 months. That's basically, hold on, that's five. Let's say that's gonna have to be about 5 states a month if I'm gonna
Somewhere in that,
rough estimate.
obviously, a little less than that. I think it's like four, because I mean, you're talking
Yeah, but there's
48
50. Oh, well,
states.
that's true. That's true. 48, not 50. 48. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
about
a
four.
little over four is what the average
Yeah,
would be.
four. If we're gonna average it, 4.5, 4.8. But yeah, you've literally within that blows my mind. 11 months, you visited the entire contiguous American continental state.
Hmm. Again, I love
Wow.
to run. I love to run. So when it's summertime and I know that I'm going to see less issues with snow and ice, that means I can go to any portion of the country. I open it up to the company and I'm like, look, it's summertime. In fact, like I said earlier, I got off my cruise April 16th. I had I think I went one day left. Yeah, one day home. I have been home. This is the second weekend since. I've been on the road all the rest of the time.
Now, in a situation like that, is it not logical for like this is the way I'm thinking about it. So, you could start say in the north at the beginning of summer and then do what you just explained, which is to go throughout the entire summer. And my thinking is as a trucker, you keep moving south, right? And this allows you to continue to enjoy the summer weather, utilize that weather for the what's the best word, advantage of shipping without having to deal with weather uh, inclements. So is that how you plan your voyages, for example, like you just explained? Like, would that be how you would sort of do this?
Well, okay. So I don't want to sound like I'm trying to um, clout chase or anything like that. I do have my own channel on my channel called J Man's Road Rants. I have a video where I talk about the 5 longest trips I've ever taken in a truck. And the longest trip I've ever taken was actually from Albany, New York to Las Vegas, Nevada. That is 11 states in one trip, 2,500 miles. I mean, so there's a fourth of the states right there in just one trip. And you gotta and you're probably trying to do the math, but you go from New York, you go through Pennsylvania, up by Erie, Pennsylvania, through Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado, Utah, then you kind of cut the corner of Arizona and then into Nevada for Las Vegas. 11 states. That's one trip. I had a trip where I picked up in Louisiana and I had to head over to South Carolina to pick up the transponder so I could not have to pay the tolls. And I went from there all the way up near where Joe lives, up near Boston. So it was Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South, North Carolina. Where are we up to? That's 6. Virginia 7, Maryland 8, Delaware 9, New Jersey 10, Pennsylvania 11, New York 12, Connecticut 13, Rhode Island 14 because I was on the south side of Boston, and then into Massachusetts. That's 15 states on that trip.
Wow.
So, I mean, sometimes it's one or two trips and you're getting a lot of the states knocked out right away.
Well, that's definitely something to be able to acclaim because again, there's very few people that can say they visited every single state in the contiguous United States. But
Oh, and one day I will get Hawaii, and I will happily
well,
proclaim.
you'll do it on a cruise. I'm sure you will.
Well, sure,
That's
yes,
what you like to do.
but once I get
Well,
once I get
actually,
Hawaii,
get them to get two birds stoned at once, as Ricky says from Trailer Park Boys, because not only is Hawaii known for great places for cruises and such, but Alaska, there's some really cool cruise ships that go to Alaska, and you can watch glaciers fall off a mountain and
if
watch
that's what you want to
whales.
see,
Yeah, but
I
that's what you
I can
like.
see
You
snow
like
and
the
ice back
you
here.
like that
I
sort of
don't
thing.
I don't want to go to I like I said like I was trying to say. I'm sorry. When I get to Hawaii, I will be happy to say I have been to all 49 states, at least the 49 that matter to me, because I have no desire to see Alaska. I can see snow and ice anywhere down here.
Oh, come on. You gotta make that on your bucket list. And again, they've got a lot of great cruisers that go to Alaska and you get
Oh,
to
I could
see.
actually do Alaska and Hawaii in the same
Well,
cruise,
that's what I'm
even.
talking about. Just do
Yeah,
that, get it done, get it off your fucking list and be like, "Look, I'm better than you. I've visited all 50 states. What do you got, bitch?" That's what
I've
you got to
actually
be
been to
doing.
more countries than I've been to states. But
Really?
when you count all the countries outside, Canada and Mexico would be included in
Well,
that.
that's
But
my next
all the
question
Caribbean
actually.
countries I've been to.
That's my next question is so uh, my next question was have you traveled to Mexico or Canada? So it looks like you have. Where have you gone
Not,
in
I
either
have
country?
not been to Mexico in the truck. I've been to Mexico on vacations. I have been to Canada in the truck. I've been in Ontario and Quebec, from the Detroit, Michigan area up to Huron, across Ontario. I think what that 402, 401, somewhere in that
Yep.
ballpark,
Yep.
into Toronto. I've come back into the States through Buffalo, through upstate New York and Quebec. I've been in Montreal as well. Montreal is an absolute fucking dumpster fire of a city, in my
Yep.
opinion. Toronto is absolutely gorgeous, though the traffic can be kind of a nightmare at times.
It's terrible.
First trip up there, I stayed. I was actually up there for a day, where I had a lot of downtime, and of course I couldn't use my phone
Did you
because
like the
that would be
food at least?
international. Oh no, I went to a Montana Mike's, so we have those down here as well. But it was my first time to a Montana Mike's, which is a steakhouse, and I don't know what I was expecting, but I didn't expect English. I don't know why. Don't Again, first trip to Canada. Call me dumb, whatever. Um, I didn't expect English, and it was like I was speaking to fucking Americans. It was like, what?
Well, they know who
Ain't I
pays
in
the bills.
Canada? Well, but I mean, they didn't even have the a boot and
No,
ute and
The
what they didn't
Quebecers
have
don't
none
do
of
that.
that. Yeah, they didn't have that either. So it was just I don't know. But I have come to learn that Toronto's kind of a melting pot city, like New York is, as
It
far as
is. Yep.
lots of different nationalities and races and what have you there, all mixed in. But like I said, I think it's a gorgeous city. I've been up there probably 3 times overall. I probably made 7 or 8 trips into Canada. Now, mind you, all of those with TMC in the 3 years I was with TMC, because since I've been with my company now, A Plus Trucking is the name of it. We don't leave the country. We don't. So I don't even carry my passport anymore on the road.
Hmm.
So it's just too much of a hassle anyway, with all the permits you got to get, with the fact that you got to deal with the border crossings, which for a car is one thing. For a semi truck crossing into the United States from Canada, though it's not Mexico, which I would imagine is probably worse coming from Mexico and the United States, it can still take up to 3 hours just to cross from Canada to the United States.
Yeah.
Now, if
Yeah.
I wanted to go from the United States into Canada, it might only take me 30 minutes.
It's kind of fucked up as it is. So yeah.
It is. Plus, like I said, you're an international, so your phone service, you basically try not to use your phone at all because, it's international. You're
And
gonna
the
the first.
wandering, or the, I can't remember what it's called, the costs of the, not
Oh, it's
wandering, it's,
ridiculous. I actually had the trip I went through Montreal. Um, I was still with TMC, and I can't read French. I don't know French, so I had to use my GPS on my phone to get out of Canada through Montreal. And for the 3 hour trip, I think it was, that I had to span, maybe a little longer, from Ontario into Quebec through Montreal, down into New York through I-87. It was that was $500 phone bill for the GPS.
yep, yep, that
Now,
happens.
now I was fortunate my company actually paid for it. Thank God. Because I got that phone call like weeks later. Because of course, you never get your cell phone bill right away. I got that call from the wife like weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, whatever it was. You had your $500 phone bill. I'm like, what do you mean $500 phone bill? It says you had international data. I'm like, ah,
Oh
shit. That's when I
God,
had to use the
yeah.
GPS in Montreal. Yep. So thankfully, I was able to send it to the company, and they were able to pay for it. So, whew. But that's all my Canada experience right there. Ontario and Quebec, and very little of Quebec, thank God.
Well, I would love to introduce you to the good stuff of Canada, but I can understand that your experience in Quebec just reaffirms what many of us already believe. So the next question is, and you did struggle with this, when we spoke prior to the show starting, so hopefully you've had enough time to sort of contemplate it. And I gave you a few examples as to maybe this might be something that you'd like to discuss. But the question is as follows: what is the weirdest thing that you've ever experienced in your career as a trucker?
So, as we were speaking of earlier, my definition of weird and your definition of weird might be two different things. And experienced is probably not the word I'm looking at, but remembering, seeing visually, burning the back of my retinas, backing into a truck stop, parking space, looking over at the truck on my driver's side, seeing, and I would guesstimate 4 to 450 on the scale, asleep in the driver's seat, naked.
Naked.
A man. And like I said, it's an image I will never get out of, because just like we can see down into your car. So if you're driving naked down the highway, I will see all your goodies. We can, looking at another truck as well.
You can also look down onto a truck, onto a car, and see people that are getting roadhead or
Yes,
all those other sorts of things.
I've had several where the car, no, I shouldn't say several, two or three, where a car would pull up beside me and I'm just kind of driving and I happen to look down and you just see the ass and pussy of this woman basically sticking out the passenger side because she's given roadhead, and the guy driving has purposely pulled up alongside the truck to get to my attention to see it
Well, God
without
bless that man for number one, and
without honking the horn, to make it obvious to her,
but
obviously.
also there was a time, and I saw this. It's a decal, I guess, that was attached onto a truck, but it was basically sort of, it was censored, but it was saying whatever happened to women flashing truck drivers, and that is
It
something that
still
has
happens
been
very rarely.
now.
Yeah, now.
But did it not happen a lot in the past?
Oh,
Absolutely.
well, sure, but here's
Why
the
don't
thing.
why don't you deserve your boobs? Of course you deserve your boobs.
How many movies and TV shows have made truckers look like these guys that abduct women and rape and kill them? Um, all
How
those
many real
different
life
things.
women
So
have basically flashed truck drivers and, done that sort of thing? Like,
well, no,
it's got to
but
be fair.
what I'm saying is that women have become more cautious around us because of these movies and TV shows that make us look like we're all these,
Nah,
you
just
know,
liberal women's that
predators.
fucking, believe in that shit. But, a good old country girl, she's certainly going to show her goods.
Oh, I actually had a 75. Well, I would say 75. I don't know. It was a guesstimate, but she was an older lady. Fucking show her boobs to me down the highway. I fucking, you bet, baby.
You're goddamn right.
Fuck it. I'll take it. I
And,
mean,
and I'm sure that
they,
you're the type of guy, because this is always what I experienced as a kid. As a kid, you see a truck driving by, and you put up your arm and you do the whole honking, you know, movement, and the truckers fucking, do that. And that was the coolest thing as a kid, is that truckers recognized, how much kids like trucks and shit, and they'd honk their horn for you.
I posted on social media as much as possible about the fact that I wish more parents taught their kids that even today. We miss that as drivers, honestly. I will do it for anybody. I've had old people give me the arm pump. I've had little kids give me the arm pump. Teenagers, 20s, 30s, what I've had all different ages give me the arm pump, and I will give you the horn every fucking time.
Hell
We
fucking
live for
yeah.
that shit. It doesn't happen as often as it used to. And, people need to do it. I tell my daughter, we'll be driving down the road in my pickup, and I'll be like, look, when you get in that truck, do the arm pump. Because he's fucking going to dig that shit.
Absolutely. It's a recognition of respect. So let's move on to the next question here is what is the scariest moment you've had in your life? Now, it could be maybe an encounter at a truck stop. Maybe it was a situation where you
Oh,
were
it's
driving and
it's
you
real
thought,
easy. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's real. It's this story.
okay.
Drew knows this story. Driving south of Fort Smith, Arkansas, the blizzard was coming on. It's a US 71 highway, and about 10 miles south of Fort Smith, Arkansas, it goes from 4 lane down to 2. The left lane for the southbound 2 lanes, the left lane becomes a left turn lane, and the right lane is the only through lane, to continue on to 2 lane. We, like I said, snowing, blizzard. It's not whiteout conditions. You can still see distances, but you could, the ground's starting to get slick. So I know that the 2 or the 4 lanes coming to an
What do
end.
you
So I
hold on
start.
before you continue? What are you carrying? So you got your truck. What do you got on the load?
Oh, I honestly couldn't tell you that.
No,
I
but
was
you're
probably
carrying
weight
a
wise.
trailer, obviously.
Wait, yeah, it's a box van, a 53-foot dry van, but it's probably weighted. I was probably 75,000 total pounds, truck, trailer, and load.
Okay.
So I'm decreasing speed as much as possible because I know we're going to go from 4 to 2, and there's a car in front of me, and so I don't know what he's going to do. I got to I'm opening up my stopping distance is what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
We get to the end of it, and this guy in the right lane stops to make a left turn.
Oh, to cut you off.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't cut me off. He figured, because like I said, it's snowing. You can't really see the road to know where you're at in the road. So I'm assuming he didn't realize he was in the through lane and where he thought he was in the left turn lane. I don't know. But he came to a stop in the through lane to make that left turn. Well, of course, there's traffic on the northbound that's coming. So he can't just make his left turn. There's no stoplight there. There's no stop signs or anything. It's just, you got to go when you can. So now I've got to get on the brakes. I haven't opened up enough distance for this, especially with the slick roads. I get on the brakes and all I'm doing is sliding. This man is dead. Dead. So I'm looking at my options. I can't take the left lane that turns because now I'm going because if I to clear him, I would be hitting head-on traffic. So that's not an option. I can't just let plow through him either,
Unfortunately.
right? So I take the shoulder of the road, hoping there's enough shoulder to get past him and just continue on. There wasn't.
Oof.
So I hit the shoulder. As I'm going around him, I start the passenger side wheels start to lose the shoulder and hit the rough edges of the ditch, and eventually that's where I end up, in the ditch, jackknifed with my rig facing back towards that vehicle. And even after the northbound lanes cleared enough, he could have made his turn. He was still sitting there almost as in shock of my daredevil act around him. And of course, I was so pissed off because of his dumbass that I was in a pissed off shock stage, if you will, that I didn't go over to him, because I certainly thought about it later, that I should have went over and knocked on the window and said, "Look, buddy, I need you to thank me right now." And when he went, "Why?" "You're still alive."
Yep.
"Because I'm right there. Because you're in the wrong lane. And I had to make that decision so that I didn't kill you. So thank my ass right the fuck now."
Bend the knee.
I wish I could have done that, but he eventually left. I called the company, they called the record, they called the cops. The cops had to come and divert traffic as much as possible when the record got there. It was, yeah. Thankfully, the truck still ran after that. There was no issues with that. I had to have a record to get pulled out. So that was definitely the scariest moment. I mean, because I know I'm like, look at this is down to those life or death decisions, right? I take the left lane, I'm killing head on. I stay where I'm at, I'm killing him. I take the shoulder. There's a risk.
You're too nice. Again, this just highlights how these people actually care for lives. Because if it was me, I would just run right into him, say, "Hey, insurance company, look at the fucking image. This guy fucking tried to pull this shit."
Well, first off, I didn't have a dash cam at that time. And secondly, had I hit him and killed him, I would be in jail today and not on YouTube.
Yes, but now that cameras are quite prevalent, you can proceed in not stopping for these idiots that try to brake check you or drive dangerously.
Unfortunately, with today's lawyers, I would still have to ditch the truck before hitting him.
The camera alone is
still
enough
get sued. It doesn't matter.
The camera will exonerate you.
First off, I can tell you right now, with all the laws out there, we are 10% responsible for every accident, regardless of whether it's our fault or not.
That's also something that pissed me off. Apparently, there's no such thing as no-fault insurance anymore. It's not like somebody could be fully held accountable for their negligence. No, the driver that tried to avoid an accident like yourself saved a fucking life. No, 10% responsible.
Yep,
I don't fucking think so.
That's unfortunately, that's what it is.
It pisses me. The insurance industry is something that really fucking gets me riled up. Because it's a scam. It's a fucking scam. All right, let's move on to the next question here. What is the biggest misconception that you think people have about the truck driving industry and truck drivers themselves?
Well, I mean, a little bit I have kind of covered already as far as the braking distance and all that stuff. Those are a lot of misconceptions people have as far as, "Oh, we've got a lot of wheels, we should be able to stop faster than anybody else." That's one of the biggest, obviously. Unfortunately, some of you get unintelligent, redneck, fat, overweight slobs. The sewage of our society. I mean, these are a lot of people's perceptions of us, and it's like, really, we can't just be a guy who makes sure you live, have all the things you ever wanted. We just got to be the scum of the earth and the fat, overweight slobs with unintelligent that couldn't get a real job. That's why we're driving trucks.
All right.
Admittedly, I'm fat, probably by definition overweight, not a slob by no means, obviously not unintelligent. It I could have other jobs. I think I'm in the greatest fucking job in the world. To some people, I might be the scum of the earth, or I might be a nuisance to them on the interstate. But without me,
They don't eat.
you have nothing.
That's
You have
right.
nothing. Every goddamn thing you buy comes on a truck. Name it.
Yep.
It all comes on a truck.
And you can thank America for not investing in a proper rail system like Europe, where if you really wanted, you could have bullet trains that could deliver freight within hours between Los Angeles and New York. But yeah, keep relying on failing infrastructure. So, next question: what's your favorite rest stop?
Wow. I don't know that I would call it a truck stop really, and it's the
Whatever you
Wild
want to
Wild
call it.
West. It's the Wild Wild West in Vegas, baby. I mean, you got the truck stop right next to the Wild Wild West Casino, which is literally right across I-15 from New York at the south end of the strip. Park there for the weekend, stay at the Wild Wild West, and just ride the buses around Vegas and hit all the casinos and have a fucking blast.
Now,
It has to be the Wild Wild West.
now question: you park your truck there, like loaded, unloaded, trailer, not trailer. You park it there. You're allowed to park there, no fucking problems. You literally can just park it there and go enjoy yourself on the strip.
That one is a paid parking,
Ah,
so
paid. I got it.
we have to pay for the parking there for the weekend.
Now,
But the company pays for that, so again, I don't have to pay anything out of pocket.
okay, well that's certainly beneficial. But are you parking there with a full like fucking load on your
Yeah.
trail? Really?
Hmm.
Hmm. So
It's
I
a
guess
secured lot. That's why you pay for it.
yeah. I was just about to say secured lot. You're paying for it. You get the company's covering it. It's like okay, well I've got to wait till I can unload this. Might as well enjoy the strip. So, you are enjoying a very enjoyable life, I think.
Well, like I said, there's you can't top this job. The things I have seen, I've practically seen every wonder of this United States through trucking. I've seen all the Great Lakes. I've been to all 48 of the continental United States. I have not seen the Grand Canyon yet, but you can't get a truck there, which is why. If they could, I would. I
Hmm.
have seen the Golden Gate Bridge. I have seen Manhattan, New York, and all the skyscrapers. I have seen Niagara Falls right there in Niagara Falls, New York, and the Canadians. I have not been on the Canadian side of it, but I have been on the U.S. side of it. And yes, I've heard it's better to look at from the
It
Canadian
is.
side. But
Yes, it is.
it when I got to see it was in April of 2020, and I was the only person there, and nothing can top that. I got to enjoy it in all its beauty with no kids screaming,
Mhm.
nobody talking or yelling in the background. It was just me in the falls. It was serene. I have seen, fuck, I don't, I mean, I've been to both the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean. I actually parked the truck and went down to the beaches on both sides. I've been down on the beaches in the Gulf Shore, in the Gulf area of Mexico. Um, I've seen Mount Rainier. I've seen almost every volcano there is in the continental United States just driving. I mean, I've seen the Devil's Tower, which is the first ever national monument of the United States. And those who have seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind know what the Devil's Tower is. Um, I mean, it's like I said, everything. I have not been able to see the Grand Canyon yet. I have not seen the Mount Rushmore, although I tried. I thought I was going to get there and see it, but apparently not. I have seen Crazy Horse, which is a monument that's being built, so it's not completely finished yet, which is in the same Black Hills as Mount Rushmore. But it's just so many awesome sites in this country. You can't beat it, and I get paid to see it. How about that? You know, I have a meme that comes up every year on Facebook that when it comes up in my memory, I repost it because it is the absolute God's honest truth. It shows the picture looking out the front windshield of a semi truck, and it says in the caption, my teacher told me nobody would ever pay me to look out a window.
Mm-hmm. I know this meme.
Every time it comes up, I repost it because it is the absolute truth. I was told that in school by a teacher that staring out the window, nobody's going to pay me to do that. Yes,
I've put
they
a meme.
do,
I've put
and
a
they
meme
pay me
in
well.
a meme graphic in the chat. Sorry, in the video
Yeah, I see that.
in
I've seen
honor
things you people wouldn't
of
believe.
what
I
you
love
just
that.
said.
It's like I said, I'm
That,
getting paid
that's
to
from Blade
travel.
Runner, people, by the way.
I'm getting paid to travel this great country. Yes, I could still call it great. It's, there are things about this country, especially our government, that is trying to destroy that. But as far as the natural beauty of it, there's still so much of it out there. That's that's why I can't complain about this job. They get paid really well to see all the beauty. And I have not been up to the Upper Peninsula, Bry Guy. I have been trying, but just can't seem to get a load to go up in that area. That and the option of actually, I looked into it, but I've been trying to get a load from Milwaukee over to Detroit and put the fucking truck and trailer on a goddamn ferry to float across Lake Michigan because they do have them. I've been wanting to do that. I just haven't had a chance to get that done. So those two things, yeah, I wish I haven't. I wish I could get done. Did not happen yet.
So the next question here is what is your favorite? And this was asked of me to ask of you. Okay, this is people that apparently know their stuff. But what is your favorite brand of truck?
It's Peterbilt by far. This is the Cadillac of the trucking industry.
Now, please
Um,
explain. And again, I know that you're going to go into things, but please explain to people that aren't aware of this why Peterbilt is such a known brand that even someone like myself, who is ignorant of this, knows that this is the brand when it comes to trucks. Mercedes has their trucks, fucking Lamborghini has their trucks, but it doesn't seem to be that anybody Chevy, like you have all these companies that have their trucks, but nobody seems to even compare to this company, Peterbilt, that creates trucks that are just so uh, efficient that they're used so often when it comes to trucking. I'm done. You can
I'm
continue.
sorry about that. Sorry,
That's
guys.
okay.
I'm being pressed for time now.
We're almost done.
This quick.
One more question, but
So first off, the favorite truck brand is actually not unanimous, believe it or not. You have people that love Freightliners. That's what I drive now is a Freightliner.
okay.
You have people that love Peterbilt's as I do. You have people that love Kenworth. Those are the three probably most popular brands. You have companies that have favorites when it comes to like Volvo,
Yep.
which I think they're junk. Um, every brand has its own unique style. The International, the Freightliners, the Volvos, the Peets, the Kenworths. They all have their different styles. Peterbilt just has this, in my opinion, as I said, the Cadillac of the trucks. Not only does it have that sleek style look to it that I love, it's not aerodynamic in no way, which is fine. In my opinion, a truck
You're
should not be aerodynamic. It
not
should
gonna be
look
fucking trying
boxy
to
and
make a race, are you? You're just trying to
right.
fucking
It's
get
yeah,
that shit there.
sure. Aerodynamics would help with the fuel mileage. That's about it. It's not, we're not. It's not going to make us go any faster.
Yeah, but are
But
you gonna be trying to rush through rush hour traffic? No, you're gonna be taking your
no,
time.
no. But they put in they have the leather interior for the seats. They the everything just is more fancy. They
Oh,
want you to feel more at home in a Peterbilt. And Kenworth is a sister company, by the way, to Peterbilt. So a lot of times you'll see Kenworth has some similar models to the Kenworth or the Peterbilt model.
it's
Mack
just
trucks are they're
I
not
guess
very
it's
great either.
the economic version of the luxury. Like,
Um, a little bit, because when it comes to pricing a truck, and for those that don't know, a brand new truck from the dealership will cost you anywhere from about 140 grand to well over 250 grand for
what's
one
that?
semi
What's
truck.
that
No
based
trailer, just
specifically
the
on?
truck.
Like,
Huh?
is it just the luxury that's inside, that you've got a bigger cab,
Bigger
you've
sleeper is
got
the
certain
general
features?
drive of the price. The bigger sleepers is what drives it. You have sleepers that can be a motorhome. I'm
Yep,
sure some people have seen them. It's
I've
just
seen
a
them.
front cab of a semi with this like box that's a good 10 feet long. That's basically a motorhome. I mean, it's got the sink, the bathroom, the bedroom, everything all back there. And then you have the day cabs, which is just the cab and no sleeper. Those people go
And
home every
is
night.
that what you have? A day cab?
No, I have a sleeper that mine's about 5 feet from the back of my seat to the back of the cab, a roundabout. So I have quite a bit of room. I have some four windows back there. I actually have an upper bunk that my daughter can sleep in when she comes on the road with me. So I have probably well, I'm not, obviously I don't have the big ass RV type sleeper, but as far as sleepers go, that because those are extra. The normal sleepers, I probably have more of the bigger size than most when it comes to normal size sleepers.
Okay. All right. So the last question, because I know that you're pressed on time, is the myth, the fantasy, whatever you wish to call it, the perception that many people have. Lot lizards. Lot lizards, ladies and gentlemen, are what some have referred to in the past, and apparently they did exist, but we're going to wait for J-Man to address this. But lot lizards were the individuals that would frequent truck stops and solicit advantages utilizing sex. Could be a
I,
ride, could be money, could be a lot of different things. But this is the fantasy again from Smokey and the Bandit, all these other things that have perpetuated in our minds, including my own, and obviously the necessity for me with this opportunity to speak to J-Man to figure out the actual truth and figure out if these stereotypes are absolute bullshit. So, tell us about lot lizards.
well, first off, I can tell you that in 13 years of driving, almost 13 years of driving, I have never seen one. Um, they do exist. They are way fewer and far between than they were back before my day of driving. Back in the 70s and the 80s was their big heyday, maybe slightly into the 90s. But the big five major truck stops, Love's, Petro, TA, Pilot, and Flying J, have run them off. using security and all that. So when you see the big five major truck stops, which basically covers most 90% of the truck stops around the country, you're not going to see them. The only time you're going to see them nowadays is if you're at some rinky-dink mom and pop truck stop, maybe has 10 parking spaces for trucks, because they've been run off from the major truck stops. So they don't. So in my world, they don't exist, but they are still out there. There's just fewer and far between.
So
That
that's great that
help with that a little bit.
you're able to address something that again, and it's sort of like the American cowboy. There's a lot of mystique around the American trucker, where you have these ideas. Well, I would have thought it was this because I saw this in a movie. I saw this on TV. I saw this here. And it's clearly, definitely not anywhere close to that. But there are those nuances that you're clearly revealing that certainly show that there's a basis towards the, I guess the, what's the word? The bias, but it's clearly it's sort of like a legend. It's been so romanticized that the truth is actually a lot further from what people are saying.
Absolutely. No, actually, I tell people the same story. In my first year with TMC, which was my first year in the industry, I actually took my wife on the road with me, and we did a 2-week run together on the road because I was so mad at the fact that she would tell me, I don't understand why it is you're always act like you're so tired every day. You get 10 hours of sleep every night. And I said, woman, you're coming on the road with me, and you're going to sleep when I do, and only
Heh.
when I do. And she quickly learned the 10-hour break doesn't necessarily mean 10 hours sleep.
No, it certainly doesn't.
So we're actually, since we stayed 2 weeks out, the weekend between the two, we actually were in the truck on the road. We were down in Beaumont, Texas. And we were settling in for the night. She had gone out that day and did all the laundry and everything in the truck stop because they do have laundry facilities. And so we had put all that away, and I had stripped down to my boxers, ready for bed. I'm laying on the bed. She's still finishing putting a couple of things away when there's a knock at the door. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of naked here. Why don't you see who it is? She turned around and looked out the passenger side door, and she said there was a woman there, but the woman kind of gave a nod like never mind and walked away. I could assume that was a lot lizard and saw the wife and went, oh, I guess that guy's covered.
I was going to say that,
but I don't know.
Sounds like an attempt to solicitate.
Right. That, again, assumption. But I couldn't tell you for certain if that was the case because I didn't see her. My wife did.
And I guess the prostitute was very lucky that your wife did not have a gun.
Well, no, because again, my wife's she's not a, or was, how do I put this? My ex-wife. She's not my wife. We're separated. Legally, she's still my wife, but she's not. She's a very
well. If you convert to Islam right now, she becomes your property. So technically, you might be able to get something out of that. So
yeah,
just letting you know. Letting you know.
Good, I'm good.
You're good. You're done.
I actually am done. I'm sorry, unfortunately, with this because I'm gonna have to get. They're been already checked on me 4 times. Like, come on. But I do appreciate this forum, open forum with the questions. I loved being able to reminisce about some of my past stories, and of course, Gail and all the beauty I have seen of this great nation. I hope that people have learned a lot about me and the industry, more importantly.
I'm just glad I had the opportunity to interview you because these are, again, I always said this from the very beginning. This is something that I enjoy. I like to know about this stuff, learn about this stuff. Love that you're doing your videos. And, you were saying that you were feeling that you were having some sort of not writer's block, but like, what else could you do? And I'm thinking to myself, what do you mean, what the fuck else can you do? You can fucking answer all my questions. And I think a lot of people have, the same questions, wanted to hear you address these sort of things. And I certainly appreciate the time that you spent with us here today because, we've been trying to coordinate. Yesterday didn't work out very well, but today worked out perfectly. And I really don't care how many people are watching us because this wasn't really about you guys. It was about me learning about the trucking industry. And I know that people are out there are going to fucking appreciate this, even if they watch this after the fact. But this was enjoyable, and I really do appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate everything. Like I said, this is I've had a lot of fun with this. I hope that people enjoy this. Hey, I mean, again, I'm not trying to be that clout chaser, but go check my shit out, man. J-Man's Road Rants.
Yeah,
I just actually did put a
you
video
weren't
out
the one that
yesterday,
chased me. I chased you. So, if anything.
Well, I know, but some people some people get upset when they're like, "Hey, don't be, you're on my channel, dude. Don't be shouting out your fucking channel." Some people might leave my channel and stop and go watch your shit. So, there's
Fuck 'em.
people like that, and I never want to be, I don't want to be that kind of guy that's just, "Hey, go check my shit out," But I look, I struggle. Yes, you have given me some great ideas. I've covered several of your ideas through my
I
videos.
appreciate that. I appreciate
Um,
you even addressing them because, like, you could have said, "Nah, that's another. Yeah, I won't cover that." No, but you're like, "Yeah, okay, cool."
Hey, and like I said, you've got a couple others that I'm going to get out. I really am. I'm just trying to get the daughter on the truck so she can help me videotape them because they're going to be a little more complicated because, well, to a little spoiler alert, Dave has asked me to show you how driving my 13-speed truck is so much different than your 5-speed in a car. And you can't do that without an actual video live showing it. And there are actually
Don't be
two
so
ways.
generous. Most people don't even think about how many gears they've got in their car because they drive automatic, okay? You and I, we drive standard. Well, we drive manual. We call it standard because back in our day it was.
Right.
But, like most people, like, oh, I'll just shift it into drive. No, my friends, no.
No.
First, second, third, second, first. No, I'm not going to even press on my brakes. I can use my fucking gear shift.
Yeah, like I said, I can't wait to get the video. I'm going to show two versions of I'll show you the version of how I was actually taught to do it, and then I will show you the version of how I do it currently,
Nice.
which is even easier. But yeah, just because I think it's a great idea. So I'm just waiting on getting my daughter on the road so I can video it. Hopefully June, July, somewhere in that ballpark. But I will try to get some other stuff out. Again, I did get a video out yesterday on um, the bill in the House that got passed on Wednesday because there were a lot of people that were complaining about the fact that 192 Republicans didn't vote or voted no on the bill because the bill was about supposedly stopping the shortage of baby formula.
I've seen that list.
Yeah, so it's a great video.
A
Go
lot of
check it out.
Republicans that claim to be, conservative, but clearly aren't.
Yeah, so, but yeah, again, Dave, thank you. I'm
And
glad that
how
we've
about
gotten
this? And end it up with telling everyone who's listening, where they can find you, not just on your channel, which you should mention, but also on the shows that you frequent.
Oh yes, actually, that's great. Crunch Time Sports, starting hopefully next Saturday. We're going to be bringing that back. Brody and I were doing that. We did a couple episodes last year, and then we kept getting problems coming up where he was not available or I wasn't available, and it got all screwed up. So we're hopefully bringing that back starting next Saturday, and hopefully every Saturday after. It'll be on his channel. I think it's called Crunch Time Sports. Don't quote me on that. You can find me on Twitter, J-Man from KC, and I'll have that advertised when it comes up. And I'm also on Derailed News and Podcast with Gatekeeper Drew. Drew and I have known each other for over 15 years, somewhere in that ballpark. So we go back well before this whole YouTube craze. So when he asked me to join his show 4 years ago, wow, um, I was like, sure, why not? And that's what got me onto YouTube. So those are the two main shows. I have done sporadic appearances here and there for
Yeah,
other
what
shows,
about
like
your channel? You haven't talked about your channel.
my channel, J Man's Road Rants. I don't do anything live. They're all pre-recorded shows. I rant about the news. I rant about my daily driving. Um, I've got several episodes discussing how you should and you know or should drive around trucks. How you should
You need to
drive
make more
down
of those. You
interstates.
need to
I
remind people.
do. I do. I need to update. I probably should do new ones, just updating the old ones, basically. Um,
You know what? I
I
need to get myself a Maserati, and need to work with a fucking trucker so I can drive underneath them, and I can, again, harass people that are trying to harass truckers.
well,
I'll be
I'll
the
tell you what,
pro
Dave.
bandit.
When you buy your Maserati, make sure you take it to a customizer who can make the Maserati sit no higher than 2 feet off the ground. If you are taller than 2 feet off the ground, you won't make it under the trailer of a
That's
semi
true.
truck.
That is true. But I can find Maseratis that do that. 1985 B Turbo. But then again, I can always get myself a Lamborghini Countach, which certainly
Still
will
too tall.
fit
Still too
underneath
tall.
a
No,
truck.
not under mine. It's
Well,
still
then
too tall.
I'm gonna have to
I've
modify
actually,
it.
like I said, it would have to be you can't.
Well,
It's about 2 feet.
you ever try to fucking push a Lamborghini off the fucking road? It's like
No, no,
you're not playing fucking Smoking the Bandit with me. I'm getting you off the road.
no. I've actually been. I've stood up. I've stood next to the Lamborghinis. I've sat in a Lamborghini. Uh, Out in Kansas here, Kansas City side of Kansas, I actually they have a dealership there where they had a Lamborghini Diablo, and I fucking sat in that thing in the dealership,
And
and
he couldn't get underneath your truck.
I got instant fucking wood. Now this was
Well,
long before
no,
I
of
was a truck
course.
driver,
I get
and
wood
then I
just
got
thinking
out and
about
looked
that
at the
shit.
price tag, and that's when the wood went away.
Well,
Because you could buy a house for cheaper than that Lamborghini. I mean, but no, I'm just telling you, you know, I'm 5'11". The bottom of the trailer probably comes up mid thigh on me.
yeah, but that's probably because it's got like a rail for extra wheels, and I mean, I'm sure there's some space underneath your trailer for that thing to somehow maneuver.
No,
Might not be easy.
I'm just saying if your vehicle, which I mean most everybody's vehicle, even a Lamborghini, comes up mid belly to me at the top of the roof, and the bottom of my trailer is mid thigh. You're still off by
Okay,
almost a foot
you
and a
know
half,
what,
right? I mean,
J-Man, challenge accepted. We're gonna remake the movie Smoking the Bandit, #1, the best one. And I'll have to grow a mustache. I don't know how I'll be able to do that. I might have to take my ass hair and put it on my face because that's the best way I can grow a mustache. And yeah, we'll have to make a movie. You'll drive the truck. I'll drive you know, the Trans Am, but that car is way too large to get underneath the fucking truck. So we'll have to do some movie magic to convince people that it worked. But
well,
I
first
know
off
we
they
can do
made
it, dude. I know we can do
first off they had customized trailers that were lifted
it.
higher so that could be done.
It
But of
was
course
new.
now
Yeah.
they do every movie you've ever seen a car go under a trailer like that. The
Total
trailer has
fakes.
been customly lifted to allow the space for that
Yep.
car to go underneath it.
Absolutely.
No trailer actually has that kind of room.
Yeah.
And most of them now have a side skirt
Yep.
that almost goes all the way to the ground.
Yep. And they
between
did
the
that on
drives and the
purpose
fucking
because people were
trailer
trying to
tires.
pull that shit off.
So,
But no, but that's the thing though. There are vehicles that are low enough that can pull that off, dude. There are.
well,
And yeah, you might want to look out for them because, if you don't have skirts, they might try to pull it off. But I don't know. I need to. I yearn to go back to the day of Smoking the Bandit and trying to get a trailer of contraband to a location in a certain amount of time, and using CB radios. I know it's not a big thing for you these days, but shit, man. I wanted to get my license for quite some time, and I would certainly love just sitting back and talking to people on the radio.
Well, like I said, I'm unfortunately because I have to go. I would love to. Maybe I'll have to do it on Derail, but I, would love to elaborate on the the easiness of what they had to pull off in those movies. So,
Well, then I guess that only means one thing, that we're going to have to do a part two.
maybe, maybe I'm sure that I got plenty of stories to tell.
Well,
They could. Yeah,
I'm
you know
totally
what?
down with it.
Not maybe. We're doing
Exactly.
it.
Not
We'll
maybe.
do it.
Not
Yeah.
maybe.
When it happens, that's a different story, but we're doing it.
Exactly. I want to hear these stories. I want to gather around, tell the children to gather around the fire so we can listen to Daddy J Man tell us the stories of being on the road. And again, it's
The fireside chats with Trucker J.
there we go. Exactly. With a little bit of whiskey. All right. I know you got to go. So we're going to wrap it up right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been going on for about here 2 hours and 25 minutes. I certainly did not expect this. I thought, I told J-Man, I think an hour, we'll probably will take care of an hour. Nope. There's so much more to go. And, I look forward to the next time that we do this. So,
Yep.
My name is Devious Dave Rose. This man is called J-Man from KC. Be sure to check him out on his channel. What's that called again?
J-Man's Road Rants.
And we shall see you next time.